No one can control the hand that they're dealt in life. Some will be dealt a greater hand than others, while others have to suffer. It truly makes you grateful for your own position, because after all, we all know that there's someone doing worse than you. But for the ones who are forced to live a life of despair, they're forced to roll with the punches, to take life how it comes. And this next case is no different. A case that is full of pain. So much pain that it makes me admire just how much humans can endure. But how much pain is too much? A lot of people cope in different ways. They find ways to numb the pain, ways that some people wouldn't approve of. In fact, some people would downright turn their back. But it's always important to remember, you could one day be in their shoes. And when the tides turn, how will you handle it? August 20th, 1994. The world would make way for Danielle Brooks. When Danielle was born, she was given away at birth and immediately sent into the foster care system. The place she called home is Chicago, Illinois, a place where she would be born and raised. Although Danielle was given away at birth, she would manage to be adopted as a baby, and she would be welcomed into a home. As a child, Danielle enjoyed the normal things that a child her age would. Playing dress up, she enjoyed singing, dancing, and she also had a knack for makeup, as well as doing hair. Doing hair is something she was always fascinated with. Aside from school, she would also attend the Monument of Faith, a church that was in her area that her foster parents just so happened to attend. While in church, she grew close with the church members. She sang in the choir. She undoubtedly loved the place. But behind the smiles of a young Danielle Brooks was trouble brewing at her home, because she would describe her foster experience with her first parents as tumultuous. She says that her foster parents would basically put on for the church, that life was great. However, it wasn't. She details that there were a lot of problems in that home, but the problems were aimed at her. Now, while coming up, she did have foster siblings, and she would claim that these foster siblings would often fight her, break her things, call her ugly, and the parents would do nothing about it. However, on top of these problems, she says that her foster parents would often complain that the state wasn't paying them enough to take care of her, and by the time she was 11 years old, they would call it quits and put her back into the foster care system. She would only spend a little time there before she would be adopted again, adopted by a man who goes by the name of Ray Banks. Ray Banks also attended the Monument of Faith. This is where Danielle would be raised at. Now, while at Monument of Faith, she would have run-ins with her old foster parents, and things were the same. They were still teasing her, and life was hard. Although life was hard, she was a student that maintained straight A's and B's, even throughout high school. She was athletic, and by the age of 15, she would have her first job. She also did hair on the side. But just like her life in her former foster home, things were the same. From the outward appearance at church, everything looked okay. However, behind the walls of the home was a completely different story. Danielle would testify that sometimes she would be tied to a dresser, unable to go anywhere. At other times, she was fed dog food inside of a dog bowl. But one of the worst experiences is that right before graduation, she claims that her foster parent Ray Banks took her virginity. Although Danielle had the world piled against her, she would manage to graduate high school. She would graduate from Thornwood High School and then enter college. However, upon entering her adult life, more problems were on the horizon. While attending South Suburban College, Danielle would be homeless. She says that she knocked on the doors of former church members. However, those doors were closed in her face. So she would sleep in the park at night, and in the daytime, between classes, she would be at the public library studying to better herself. She would go on to obtain a degree. When Danielle attended college, she wasn't homeless the entire time. After she had given up hope that someone else would take her in, she would eventually move back in with Ray Banks. After leaving college and obtaining a degree, she wouldn't be able to find work in the field she studied in, so she would work odd jobs to take care of herself. She worked at Burger King, Amazon, and did hair on the side. As a child, Danielle had been through so much, and in her adult years, she was feeling all alone, abandoned, and after being in the foster care system, she felt unwanted. She would often look for her biological parents. However, outside of paperwork, she knew nothing. But once she did see her paperwork, she found out that she had sisters that she also never met. She can't even tell you what her parents look like. By the time Danielle was 24 years old, her past life would begin to haunt her, and she would begin to turn to substances to try to ease her pain. This would start off small, smoking, drinking, and then it would lead to bigger issues. In the year of 2022, Danielle would manage to quit, and her reason for quitting would be because she was expecting a child. She would welcome her son into this world in the year of 2022, and she was very delighted. She was proud of what she had accomplished, but bringing him into this world would be a bittersweet moment. While she was in the hospital, she was all alone. She gave birth by herself, with no one by her side, not even the father of her child. Danielle was truly all alone. When Danielle gave birth, she would be 28 years old, and by now, she'd never had a boyfriend, a long-term relationship. She didn't even know what it felt like to love someone. But even worse, she didn't know what it felt like to be loved. After her son was born, her son would go into the care of the father's family. The reason behind this is because life would once again catch up with Danielle, and where she was clean during that period, she would relapse. Now, in defense of her foster father and his family, they claim that they tried to help her. However, Danielle's social media would tell a completely different story. She would often say she was all alone, she had no one, and she would even tell people to begin planning her funeral because she was tired of living. She was tired of being in this world. She says that one of the main reasons she felt this way is because being raised in the church, if you go to church, you know the atmosphere. Everyone is supposedly holy, and life is supposed to be great. People are grateful and good-going church people. However, with her being raised in the church and also raised by church-going people and experiencing the things she experienced, she felt like life was one big hypocritical joke. So, in light of everything she was going through, she turned to the one thing that could make her feel good: the substances that she abused.
So we all know that I never ever seen my mom before. I never ever seen my daddy before. I never seen my sisters before. I have no grandma. I have no granddaddy. I have no relatives. And I don't get celebrated. Nobody celebrates me. I was always labeled as an outcast. I was born August 20th, 1994. Somebody took me away from my parents. I never said the word mom before. I never said the word daddy before. I never bought a Mother's Day gift. I never bought a Father's Day gift. I used to work at DSC. I worked a lot of jobs, and I don't have no house. I don't have no car. I don't have anything. I don't have anything down here on earth to say I was here. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't a bum. I was a straight A student, and I got proof to show the world that I got A's and B's from a little girl up until now. I used to go to South Suburban College. Pastor Derek White was my teacher. I graduated from South Suburban College. I have a college degree, and I don't have a house. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. I ain't got shit, and I am so you know what? Just bad. I'm sitting in Ray's house, and I would love for somebody to come do my funeral. This down here, I don't know what this earth is going up in Walmart, all these Ricky Dill, all these gospel CDs. This one for me down here.
In the year of 2023, Danielle would turn 29 years old, and throughout that year, she would be on the streets. Now, she wouldn't spend all of her time on the streets. She would often talk to different men who would allow her to sleep at their place, or with her side hustle of doing hair, she would earn money to get a hotel. By this period, Danielle claims that everyone around her had washed their hands of her, when everyone around her played a significant role in her downfall. Allegedly. The pain that seemed to repeat itself over and over inside of Danielle's life was once again about to surface, because something would happen to her that no one saw coming. December 9th, 2023. Firefighters are responding to a call of a fire. Once they go to this location, they quickly realize that they were not just dispatched to a fire, but rather dispatched to a homicide scene. This scene would be located in the Riverdale area on the streets. Once the firefighters put out the fire and made it safe for the authorities to come in, they would begin their investigation. Upon entering the scene, they would immediately notice that the body was unrecognizable. So they would be forced to process the scene and then ship her to the coroner's office for further testing. An autopsy would reveal that she was stabbed several times, as well as beaten, and then she was set on fire. Due to the state of the body, the authorities had no choice but to put pictures of the tattoos that survived the fire. Once they released these tattoos to the public, Ray Banks would come forward and let the authorities know that that was his foster child. An investigation would swiftly be conducted on the homicide, and they would come to find the perpetrators who committed this act. This investigation would lead to the arrest of Scotty Job Scott, 30 years old, 55-year-old Keith Bassett, and 39-year-old LaToya Mylans. Each defendant is charged with first-degree murder, and the motive in this case is beyond shocking. Prosecutors would find out the motive was a $65 debt. $65. That was enough to warrant this heinous attack. But I also have to stop myself and think, had they known the life she lived and everything she went through, would they have still done what they did? Because after she survived so much, she ended up being taken out to a $65 drug dip. Essentially, her medicine. I'm going to call it what it is. Her medicine. Something that she was leaning on to try and cope with what she was going through in life. Now, that doesn't make it right. I'm not condoning any type of usage. But after hearing everything she went through and knowing her story, my heart truly breaks for this woman. It does. To be born and not know your parents, not even know what they look like. Then to be dragged through the foster care system, to be sent to bad home after bad home. And then ultimately become an adult and essentially give up on everything. It's breathtaking. The lifestyle she lived did not warrant what happened to her. Rest in peace, Danielle Brooks. Thank you for being a light for others. And at this point, some might say, look at the life she was living before she passed. How is that a light for anyone? Well, allow me to explain. Someone watching this story might be in her exact shoes and learn from her situation. Just because you left this earth doesn't mean that someone can't learn from your experience. If you are struggling with substance abuse or struggling with mental health, please seek help. Someone is here for you. I will be linking a number that will be pinned to the top of the comments. You do have help, and you aren't alone.
Sometimes things happen beyond your control, as if they have a life of their own. Choices you make, what appears to be right, seems you just have no say. As if you're a witness to your own mistakes, it's easy to play along. After you see what the choices came to be, like a storm that's passed on. Oh, the brain down the drain. Oh, the fuse, the abuse. Oh, please, storm-felled trees. Oh, the fight over who's right. Trying to remember all the shit that went down. I don't know what your intention was. Like trying to memorize the Bible backwards to the start and reciting it from the heart, upside down. Oh, please, on your knees, amend what you defend. I'm right, therefore I fight. You're wrong, this fight is lifelong. See the water flowing under bridges. Time, my friend, has come to pay its dues, show its use. See the sheep, they're grazing on the ridges. Our friend the wolf has come to show a new beginning needs